Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Cardfight Vanguard Darkface Gredora Megacolony deck profile for December 2020. With the latest set providing Megacolony support, we were given support for the G-Series Darkface Gredora, a really interesting unit from the Z arc of Vanguard. It was actually a diff road card for the Zoo Megacolony clan, and with it, we get a new ability for Megacolony alone called the Cradle Markers. It basically, I would say, like a web trapping bugs with other insects, web, like I said. And with it, for those of you who know, when we talk through the video, a cradle marker is this here that you'll place on a circle. With the unit with a cradle marker on it, loses its original abilities, has its power and its original power, make sure of that, reduced, and cannot boost nor intercept. And when the unit with the cradle marker is retired, you search your deck for up to one card with the same grade as that unit, reveal it, and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. The fighter that put the cradle marker will search. So it's a really interesting technique. I really do like that they're doing a bunch of different, markers, not just abilities, but actual markers that you'll use in the game for all these different clans we have. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for our first grade 3 and our main one at that, we're running 4 Evil Governor Darkface Gredora. On the Vanguard circle, once per turn, you counterblast 1, choose up to 2 of your opponent's rear guards without any cradle markers, and put a cradle marker on each of them. So it's a very simple skill, just setting up the main point of the Gredora Darkface deck to place these cradle markers and just limiting what your opponent can do with their rear guards with those cradle markers. And also on Vanguard, when it attacks, retire rear guard, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3, call it to rear, and shuffle your deck. If you called that unit, it gets plus 10,000 power until end of turn. So the main unit you want to call out with Gredora is Mutant Darkface, the backup king to the Megacolony. With that, you'll have the call power taken care of and just be able to have that additional setup for more and more cradle markers onto the field to use with this card. And it's a protect deck, so most of the time you can go for the protect 1 for the markers, or you can go for protect 2 for more of a defensive play with your own units, with your opponent's units losing their power all together with these cards. Now, I don't know where I put my actual Darkface grade 3s. I'm still searching for them, but I still wanted to do the deck profile. So you would have the Piercing Spear Mutant, Dove Spid, be the spot for Mutant King Darkface. Like I said, it's just a grade 3 that provides backup on the rear guard as one of the grade 3s you can call out with Darkface Gredora. But like I said, I don't know where I put them. Still looking for them. Hopefully I can find them so I don't have to order more of them to use with my deck. But you'll want 3 of them for this spot. Just a backup card for additional guard. It's more, like I said, just a filler spot, but you definitely do want to run Darkface in this one spot because it's the best card to search out with your Darkface Gredora for sure with all of your calls. But we still do run a pretty high grade 3 count. So for some of the other backups for the grade 3s, we're running 3 Unrivaled Blade Rogue Cyclomatooth. On Vanguard or rear, when it attacks a Vanguard, you counterblast 1, soul blast 1, it gets plus 10,000 power until the turn. Then put the top card of your opponent's deck into the drop zone, and if the unit is a grade 1 or greater, it gets an extra critical. So just more attack pressure against your opponent. The fact that with the cradle marker, your opponent's units can lose intercept, can take away from their guard restrictions. So just being able to hit with this pressure unit will either make them use their perfect guard or just heavy guard against it, and then free to open up an attack with some of your other units like Gredora especially. And then lastly, for the grade 3 is just a grade 3 I've always loved running in all of my Megacolony decks. 3 Death Warden Antlion. On Vanguard or rear, when it attacks, Soul Blast 1 grade 3 and discard 2 cards from your hand until the end of the battle. This unit gets plus 10,000 power and additional critical, and your opponent cannot call Sentinels from the hand to guard circle. So Gredora sets up the cradle markers, which basically shuts down your opponent's plays, but you need cards like Antlion and also King Darkface and Cyclomatooth to provide the additional, offensive power against your opponent to actually hit them for some damage that you can do. That's why I like to run the 3 Antlion, the 3 Cyclomatooth, and the 3 King Darkface in the spot of Dove Spid. If you want to run 4 Darkface, you can always take out one of the copies of Antlion and then put in a 4th copy of King Darkface in that spot. But that is it for the grade 3. Like I said, we do run a pretty high grade 3 lineup, but with each grade 3 ride, we also get the additional protect marker, which can be a Sentinel or any other setup you want on your circles on the field as well. For the grade 2s. We are running 4 Melody Mutant, 9 Nympha, I believe is how you pronounce the name, on Vanguard or rear. During your turn, if your opponent has a rear guard with a Cradle marker on it, this unit gets plus 6,000 power. So that easy power boost should, always be set up, because that easy to set up Cradle markers on your opponent's field. And when this unit is retired from rear by your card's ability, Soul Blast 1, choose one of your opponent's rear guards without a Cradle marker on it and put a Cradle marker on it. So it's just that setup with all of your cards being able to retire that rear guard. And just retiring a rear guard works very well with Gredora as well, basically sacrificing her own colony to set up more of the markers on the field. Getting another call will take the place of this card on the field as well, and then calling it out and giving you another Cradle marker, and then letting you search out the Dark Face with your Gredora on the Vanguard circle. I also run 3 Despoiling Mutant Sticky Bolas on Vanguard or rear when placed. Counterblast 1, look at 6 cards on top of your deck, reveal a total of 2 cards with Darkface in their card name with different names, put them into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So with it, you can search out King Darkface and also Gredora with this skill. So just great for that search power, and you can reveal up to a total of 2. So even if you just get the 1 search, definitely still worth it for sure. I have 3 of this card in the deck, mostly for the fact that my last grade 2 spot lineup is 3 Machining Mantis on Vanguard or rear, 1 place, Counterblast 1, look at 6 cards on top of your deck and reveal any grade 3 from among them and put it into your hand. So with us running the Darkface lineup, but also the Antlion and the Cyclomatooth lineup, you want a good search for a good amount of the different grade 3s around the deck. It's player preference. I prefer the 3 and 3, so you can always have more and more searches to go for all the different grade 3s we're running in the deck. But if you want to put in a 4th copy of Sticky Bolas, you can just put the 1 Machining Mantis as the replacement for that card and only run 2. But once again, I like it. It's just more search power along with it, and a little more balanced if you already have the Gredora set up in your hand and you want some other grade 3s that don't have Darkface in their name to search out. And that is it for the grade 2s. We'll now move on to the grade 1s for more of the Cradle marker setup. Running 4 Cleared Breeze on Vanguard or rear. When placed, discard a card from your hand, draw a card. If you discard a grade 3 for the cost, choose one of your opponent's rear guards without a Cradle marker and put a Cradle marker on it. So with it, more grade 3 search with the cards we spoke of before with the grade 2 lineup. So just more and more of that setup with the Cradle marker using this card. And just, it's not a Counterblast, it's not a Soul Blast. You just have to discard grade 3, which you're running plenty of in the deck to use for the fodder for this card. I like to run 4 of it for that setup. Just more preference altogether using this card. And also, for more of the grade 3 search, I do want to run 2 Little Dorcas, but I only have the 1, so I have 1 Flowery Tearer in spot for this, but 2 searchers for this during your turn. If your opponent has no stood units, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. So it doesn't work as consistently for the standing, because there's not really a paralysis, point of the deck. It's more of just the Cradle marker setup, but it's mostly used for the grade 3 search when placed from hand on Vanguard or rear. Real top, 5 cards your deck, add a grade 3, and then discard a card from your hand. So all together, very, very good for that search power, depending on what grade 3 you want. Working together with the grade 2s and this card, you should always have your grade 3 set up for your ride target also. And then also, I run the 2 of the Disturbance Mutant, Morceroro. I just butchered that name. But on rear, retire this unit. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards with a Cradle marker. Retire it, and call up to 1 card from your deck to rear with the same grade as that unit, and shuffle your deck. This ability may only be used by a card with the same card name once a turn. So not only will you set up the Cradle marker using this card, but you'll also be able to then get another card on the field to use of all of our grade 1 lineup. Remember, Little Dorcas has to be placed from the hand, so you can't really call this card out and get the consistent search, but you have plenty of other grade 1 options, including our last spot in the deck, which is Small Captain Butterfly Officer. On rear, when placed, rest this unit, choose up to 1 of your opponent's other rear guards, and it gets plus 10,000 power. And not your opponent, I might have said my opponent, but your own rear guards. And if you chose that at the end of the turn, put that unit into your soul and then countercharge 1. So it's great for the countercharge power especially, but more setup with this card being the power boost play, because you don't really have much aside from the protect markers for power plays. So you really want to boost up some of your other units, even ones that could boost, Gredora, putting the grade 1 behind it, resting this card, powering it up, and then attacking big against your opponent using this card, or going for the pressure plays with your Warden, Antlion, or your Cyclomatooth, depending on which one you have set up on the rear guard. And that is it for the grade 1s. Moving on to the grade 0, sticking with the Gredora theme, I am running one Youthful Mutant, Directus, I believe. When rode upon, draw a card, and then you get the quick shield marker if your opponent is at a grade 1. Just the generic setup for all of the starters that we have in standard format to use. But I think the art just matched very nicely since the other art we had was for a machining unit. And then for the trigger lineup, I thought of using 6 draw and 6 critical, but decided to stick with the 8 critical just for more pressure. You're already shutting down a lot of your opponent's units. So the 4 Sharp Nail Scorpio and the 4 Jewel Flasher for all of our critical needs there. And I was going to use the new one with the Sentinel Shield, but I prefer the draw trigger one, just more protection against your opponent. You do have the marker option, so plenty there. So if you want to give the critical Sentinel a try and then just have the, protect one be your option to go into, it's all up to the player at that point. And lastly, the 4 Medical Battler for the heal trigger spot, just my favorite of the art style still for the Megacolony heal triggers. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. It's definitely an interesting deck. I definitely look forward to seeing any other decks that take a focus on the, markers, or like Grand Blue has the treasure icons or tokens, I believe they are. It's definitely an interesting take they're taking, not just having the abilities of the different cards like Magia that we used to have for G format, more of an actual card you'll place down like tokens. But like I said, it's a different take and I definitely do enjoy it. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.